Good morning
Morning.
and welcome to the Wise Immigrant podcast by Miss Immigrant USA organization. How are you, dear Dr. Frank?
Doing well today. Thanks a lot, Magdalena.
So I will love to introduce you, and I prepared a small intro which not going to cover everything what is that you do, but maybe it will give our audience at least a glimpse about you. Um, we are honored to have today Dr. Frank Kaufmann, a distinguished figure in the field of peace, interfaith dialogue, and international relationship. He's the founder and president of Filial Projects and,
Correct.
and also leads the 12 Gates Foundation. He served as the editor-in-chief of the New World Encyclopedia and holds presidential roles at the Values in Knowledge Foundation, and he is a professor of World Peace Academy. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Dr. Kaufmann's career is marked by his dedicated efforts in promoting peace and resolving conflicts across over 65 countries. His work involved close collaborations with major international religious leaders and scholars to foster understanding and cooperation across diverse countries. Dr. Kaufmann, thank you. It's our honor to have you today. And I feel like it's double honor because the mission of Miss Immigrant USA is like so close to what you do. Maybe not so much on the international level, but maybe one day. But we just started bringing the immigrants together, spreading peace and love and sharing love among everyone, basically, because we are all one.
Thank you very much for going through all the trouble to craft that introduction because you had very little warning or time to prepare. So I'm very touched and grateful. You did a perfect job describing a lot of what I do. Also, I would simply compare our work similarly. I wouldn't say that it's not international because you serve the immigrant community. That's precisely what it is international, but by a special way, because every immigrant comes with their whole country behind them, surely their family behind them, and then your culture and your nation. So the mere existence or fact of your work is precisely international, or most profoundly international. So we share this very same ideals and purpose.
You're right. Yes. There's, like you said, the immigrants come with their country and the families behind them. Yeah. So please share a little bit about your ethnic background, where you're coming from.
Okay. I'm born and raised in Queens, New York. So I'm basically a New Yorker. And my ethnicity is so extremely mixed that it allows me to go through life in a playful fashion. When I was growing up in school or on the street, and people would try to insult me through ethnic slurs, I would just sit blank-faced, just smiling, and let them try each of the different groups they wanted to offend, knowing that they could never identify me. So it was kind of fun to go through life. I have some funny stories about my the confusion of my ethnicity. I'll tell one after I answer the question. But my mother was born and raised in Calcutta, India. But her mother already was half Dutch, half Indian, and her father was pure Portuguese, born and raised in Portugal. Met this Indian woman in one of his ports. He was a sea captain. So that's my mother's side, already very mixed up. And then she came to New York as a young immigrant, just as you all represent, and married a German Jew, a classic New York German Jew, guy from New York. Typical, I could go on with stories about that. So my ethnicity is Dutch, Indian, Portuguese, and German Jewish, approximately so far. So I never sent in a saliva sample. I think I'd get a book back. So I'll just keep guessing the rest of me. But just in the inability to identify me, and you read that I did international peace work. I've been everywhere in the world, actually more than 65 countries for the work of peace. And one time I just landed in Cairo, Egypt, and was there to do some peace work, probably a peace conference. And during just as I landed, I was exhausted, and I went down to the restaurant just to grab a quick bite before getting a bit of rest. And the young lady came to serve me, spoke to me in Arabic, because I could be Arabic, don't you think so?
Yes.
Yes, I could be Egyptian or Moroccan, or
Mm-hmm.
so I said, "Oh, I'm very sorry, I don't speak Arabic," but she was very upset with me right from the start, and she would never stop speaking to me in Arabic. And she put the food down very angrily, kind of threw it down, and I couldn't understand what her troubles were that day. And then every so often she would try to trick me into speaking Arabic. She'd hit the chair and say something in Arabic. And I was just apologetic, humble and apologetic. And eventually I found out that I had arrived, and I hadn't paid attention to this. Usually I do, but I had arrived in the middle of Ramadan. So her perception was that I had snuck out to some Western luxury hotel and was eating during the fast. And she was very upset about that. And then she thought I was some kind of clever guy because I was able to speak English. So her upsetness was that a fellow Arab Muslim had snuck into a Western hotel to eat during Ramadan. And so no matter how nice I was, I couldn't win her heart. So that's just one of the many tales of my ethnicity being very, what do you call it, mercurial, elusive, or unnailed downable.
Yes. But that's the beauty, that as well, it helps you to understand so many different cultures. And like with this lady, kind of to understand them and go with their customs, because like sometimes when we go to a Muslim community or Jewish community, Orthodox Jewish community, and very often I just go with my heart how to behave, because I don't know the rules. And there are sometimes really small things, and you can say something, you smile to someone, or I came up to a gentleman, I want to shake his hand, and he's like, oh, no, 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 I don't shake women's hands.
Right. Yeah. That's you've hit on a most interesting part of life, especially in the work I do, because if it's peace work, as you do as well, the last thing you want to do is to be offensive in any way. And the thing you want to do, of course, is to be as perfectly respectful of customs that you're visiting as possible. And so a lot of people, they get very nervous in the situation, like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Am I allowed to cross my legs to the left or to the right, or not cross them at all? Or just as you said, can I shake someone's hand? Would seem like the kindest and simplest way of wanting kindness and friendship, and yet it's against the rules. And a lot of people go through a lot of stress or worry, and they try to read or try to understand or something like that. Every last thing, they're afraid of doing something offensive, which it's a good heart to have, of course. But the interesting thing about it is that people people are not easily offended. They don't expect you to know everything. It's an unreasonable expectation. And they love the chance to explain. So there's when one is nervous about going into the cultures of others, one should start with the 90% reality that people love to explain their culture. It's the same as if a stranger stops you on the street for directions, and if you do know the way, you feel so great. You love giving directions. So similarly, when we visit foreign cultures, people love showing, oh, no, 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 here's how you sit, or here's what to say. And so uh, people could more easily blend in culturally if they weren't too nervous about it.
Yes. Yeah. What did motivate your grandparents to come to the US?
Well, my father's parents, they're German Jews. They left Germany in the 1890s. And you're European, you may know, but there was a financial collapse of Germany in the 1890s, and there was a massive emigration to the United States simply because of economy and survival. And I think those grandparents were quite wealthy industrialists and lost everything. There was just a crash. So they came to America. Like the moment I say my father's Jewish, my grandparents came to America, left Germany, instantly people say, oh, it must be the Holocaust. It must be the Holocaust. But it happened to be a prior immigration, which was the 1890s. I don't know if your listeners know, but of course, those are the Jews that built New York. That's why every third building in New York is owned. They came with nothing, literally. And that immigration had a massive impact on New York finance, New York real estate, and so on and so forth. So that's how my father's parents came to New York, due to the financial collapse of Germany in the 1890s. I don't know. He was born here, my dad, and grew up as a New York boy, classical New York kid. He was sent back to high school to Germany in his high school years. And in Germany, of course, and again, as you know, you're European, they play soccer, or they call it football. So he was an incredible goalie, because in American sports, you use your hands. So when he went to Germany, he was the goalie, my dad. He was good. He was good, athletically good. And so my mom came to the United States. Again, it seems to me basically financially oriented, as I think of the story. She grew up in India, and there are a number of classical common behaviors that parents do to try to give opportunity to their children, if possible. This is normal. And in my mother's time, any family that was coming to America, or England or Europe or America, mostly England or America at that time, if a family was relocating, one of the, I wouldn't call it tricks, but maybe it's a trick, one of the ways people would say, can you take one of my children with you and call them your house servant, or something like that. My mother did not come truly as a house servant, but arrived in that by that means. So basically, it was just her mom trying to give her better opportunity, educational opportunity, life in America, and the way they accomplished it was a friend of the family came to America, and my mother came along in that cluster. So
how old was she?
She was only like, I think like somewhere between 15 and 18. And she was well embraced. This also may have contributed to my peace life and peace work. But when she arrived, she was immediately embraced by the Indian community associated with the United Nations. So, so there was a set of garden apartments and a school for United Nations delegates. I don't know if you know about it. It's a
No.
United Nations school, and there were a set of garden apartments in near Flushing, not quite Flushing, near Kew Gardens, I should say, that was built only for UN diplomats and delegates and so. And the reason why is because they rotate a lot. They come and go. They come and go. So this was built for them, for United Nations families, because of their constant movement. And the schools similarly, if these UN families arrive and they have to put their kids in school, they're going to lose a year or not get placed or things like that. So the UN school was also created to accommodate the UN community. So by good luck or for whatever reason, I'm not sure, but my mom was kind of adopted by UN people. And so I grew up in Parkway Village, this United Nations community. Across the street from me was Ralph Bunche, was Utant, across the street, because that's where they had their places. And I went to the United Nations school all my life, even from little until high school. So even in first grade, we took English and French because French was the lingua franca, it was like the language of the world. English surpassed it, but anyway, so does that answer your question?
Yes, that's very interesting story. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Because we tend to the whole idea of the podcast is to share the stories of immigrants and the stories that often we don't know about, we forget, like your parents, your mom. Oh my gosh, it just it gives me like goosebumps on my skin just to think about what she had to go through, how she left her parents, came to a new country, and then started a new life in totally strange place.
Yeah. It's really the resilience and the courage and the nobility of these, a lot of times young people, and a lot of times separated from their family. My wife is from Japan, born and raised in Japan. She's an immigrant, and there's just thousands of unseen or unimagined challenges that immigrants quietly bear all the time. And it's great what you do because, or I don't know how well that works, but any elevation of sensitivity of native citizens to the immigrant experience is a great blessing to the citizens, to us, because it's not that they're cruel or heartless. It just doesn't cross your mind. But since I'm married, I understand that any possible little thing can be very difficult, and all of that is kind of born quietly, because when you step out into the life in the world, you do everything possible to not manifest any of the difficulties, to present as I'm fine, things are good, things are going well, and yet even reading a sign in a subway or something, I think the increase of resident citizens' sensitivity to the kind of small parts of daily life of citizens is a great blessing if your corporation and your movement can do that. It's wonderful. It's wonderful work. I recall the first time I ever met you at a United Nations event.
Yeah.
It was a tremendous plus the presence of your community and your colleagues there. It was just good for everyone there. Mm.
Yes, it's all about unity and sharing love and showing that, it doesn't matter you are from Queens, I'm from Poland, somebody is from India, somebody from China. After all, we are all the same. We have the same dreams, the same goals, ambitions, and we were just put in the same time and place, and now we need to learn, accept, and love each other.
Yes, yeah. So I think Americans tend to be relatively hospitable. Isn't that the case? Or how is it like to be? Is it a mix, or some people
No,
kind of?
I mean, in New York, New Yorkers are people from New York. There's no problems. Sometimes when you go outside, go more west to the country, when there is less diversity, then people tends to, I did wear the sash one time in Colorado in a restaurant, and I had some negative comments, but
Oh, yeah, it's become an issue politically of late.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Especially when you carry on yourself the word immigrant, it instantly kind of become political,
yeah,
even though
yeah,
our intention is not political, and we have a disclaimer, we don't do anything with politics, we are apolitical, we don't take sides, we are about the people, about uniting people. And talking about uniting and all the peace work that you do, can you please share how did it all start? And what is
sure,
exactly you do now?
sure. I'm happy to. Thanks.
Yes.
So one of my little kind of anecdotal quips or funny lines or something like that is the, the first time I opened my eyes, I saw two colors of human beings, my dad, my mom. So
Yes.
right from the very first second of life, there was a kind of an uncommon version of harmonizing happening in
Mhm.
my um and and there's two cultures. As I said, my mother's an immigrant, my father was first gen, but still Native American, I mean resident American. And um and they were harmonious, they were good, I'm lucky, I had good parents, they were good to each other. And but there was one small element of about my internal makeup that you can only explain in religious language. But if you avoid religious language, then you just say, I don't know how that happened. But I I'm extremely God oriented. I have been from the very first second I can remember. And I mean, literally from like 2 or 3, I can remember this orientation. But my family had none whatsoever, no religion in my family whatsoever, even close to anti-religious on both sides, not quite, um, due to autobiographical experiences and disappointments. They both came close to the border of hostile to institutional or established religion. And so there was none in my family whatsoever. They were what are called secular humanists.
Mhm.
People ask me what religion I was raised in. I say education. They believe their God is education. They believe in education. It's, if you have to have other than God as God, yeah, it's not a bad one, I suppose. Um, and so God is a big, like this God nature is the wellspring of what makes me peace oriented. Then at 14 years old, my mother, because she's from Anglo-India, British India, the unthinking rule of mind is, if you can possibly do it, send your child to a college preparatory school, prep school. In America, here in the West, it's a form of elitism. It's a form of, they're usually rich kids. But in Anglo-India, it's just, if you can do it, of course you do it. So my mom sent me to a prep school. There was no elitism in my family, honestly. In fact, elitism was a piece of comedy in my family. It was actually comedy, elitism. We'd laugh and laugh because we were interracial. So we always encountered funny attitudes towards us anyway. But she sends me to a prep school, and that prep school was like intensely Christian, but she didn't know. She just thought it's a great school. And there at that high school, I became a Christian. So I am a Christian. And so my peace life grows out of the natural form of somebody who's doing their spiritual path properly. If you are spiritual or religious, and if you are doing it properly, then you're a peacemaker. Every religion is a peacemaking encouragement if it's done properly. And we all know what happens if it's done improperly. So in college, after becoming a Christian in high school, in college, I encountered Eastern spirituality and invested in it intensely, and became developed quite a bit of mastery in Eastern religious experience in college. And so by the time I finished college, I had two complete and entire almost irreconcilable religious truths. Eastern religious truth kind of tries to dissolve distinctions. Like, the reason why I like you is because we're really one. It's only an illusion that is oneness. Whereas Western spirituality intensifies differences. There's God and there's me, and that makes the possibility of infinite love. If we're one, that's great. But the phenomenon, that kind of feeling of being loved by an other, that's the animating wellspring of Western spirituality. So by the time I finished college, I had both, and I was trying to put them together. And I think that the blessing of having had both spiritualities complete, that it serves my life of peace work. So that's the interreligious side of my peace work, which is called 12 Gates Foundation, and that's how we know each other best, I think. I was asked by a patron to found an encyclopedia that was based in high ideals and high values. Most encyclopedias try to be quote unquote value neutral. There is no such thing. There really is no such thing. It's an illusion, and there is no such thing. So what is better than trying to be value neutral is to say, these are my values, and I'm happy to learn how to make them better, or learn others, or something like that. That's a better. Neutral is just non-existence. It's not human. So a patron wanted to make a positive values encyclopedia, and invited me to become the editor-in-chief of that New World Encyclopedia. So now you've just heard of my religious basis for peacemaking, and then I have an academic basis for peacemaking. So basically, scholars they're smart, they're intelligent, but they don't necessarily create more goodness. They just create more knowledge. And if you're smart, actually, you can create more badness, isn't it? Including if you're a scholar, sadly, because scholars are very smart. And a lot of bad people are very smart. So sometimes they overlap. So I have an academic side to my peacemaking, that if you're smart, and especially if you're a scholar, Your job is to use those God-given talents to create peace, create diversity, create embrace, create openness. It's a very serious mission and job. So I have an academic side to my peace work. And then finally, there is culture. There is, and this is your world in a certain way. There's art, there's beauty, there's just how people are together when seeking the kind of festivities and celebration of life itself. You and I were just at the India Day parade. How beautiful it was all the time there. And so there's a realm of culture that also, it's independent of pure religion, it's independent of knowledge and philosophy. And so finally, I have a third organization for peace that's culture oriented. And that's my life. So I run 3 not-for-profit corporations, one religious, one academic, one society and culture. And they're complementary. They all grow out of the same ideal.
How do you manage that?
There's all kind of answers to that. One is, again, everything goes back to spiritual for me, as you know. So one is to delight in what you do. As long as you delight in what you do, I know you, Magdalena, you do millions of things. You're highly energetic, you're highly productive, and people would say the same thing to you. I know.
True, that's true.
And I think it just originates in delight, kind of in wonder, in delight, in curiosity. I think most people might answer that question is, oh, you have to get up and drink a glass of water, and then the first thing you have to do is settle your mind. Or yeah, we do all those things. We do have to, quote unquote, manage. But I think what makes it possible to bear a lot and manage a lot is kind of delight, wonder, curiosity, gratitude, perhaps gratitude above. And so, say if I get up this morning and I have a big demand on me, I have to write or produce something or write something. Actually, I like the click of a keyboard. It feels nice. It's interesting. It has a nice sound. It's just wondrous to me. So I'm not really dealing with, I do have that demand and I will fulfill it. But at the moment, I'm just, this is fun for me, like a little kid with blocks or something. So that's, it's an odd, I don't know if it's an odd response, but that's how I manage it. Our days are a gift.
Yes.
They're full of demands, but we could have approached our conversation here that, oh, it's something we must do, but I'm so happy to be with you. It's just wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wrote in your short bio description that you are doing peace negotiation and between different countries. And can you elaborate a little bit about this? Because I'm curious about that exactly. How does it work? How did you get involved with that? How one even get to the point where you can go and somehow bring people together?
Yes. Okay. Sure. Maybe there are 2 things. There are 2 or 3 things to respond to this question of yours, Magdalena. One is every last human being is in some ways identical. Either their wife yelled at them this morning or gave them a big hug. Like, even if you're ruling the world, even if you're like, no matter who you are, either your eggs were cold or my first thing is that in peacemaking, no matter how much power anybody wields, at the end of the day, their life is something that really does need love and care. So,
Mhm.
so they may be amassing troops on the border and about to kill millions, or I don't know. But the other thing is they're worried about their kid in high school that just met a friend who's obviously a drug user or something like that. So in a certain way, that's a start for me. Every human being is just like me and just like you. Maybe it was cold and the covers, you pulled the covers above your toes and now your feet are cold when you wake. There's no human being that is not in this in
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
Okay. B, uh, B, you in order to in order to pursue peace and represent peace and be persuasive and deal with life and death situation, one has to have some sort of regimen in which you, any interest of yours is really absent. One must be just for the ideal purpose you're there to be. If you're also secretly writing a book or
Yeah.
secretly wanting to be, the next undersecretary general, or so, if there's anything, when you're there trying to take care of life and death,
Mhm.
and you have some operative part, you cannot do it. You cannot do it. Another theory of mine is every human being can tell what's true and false, and in some part of themselves they'll know. And if they meet a person who's in their office who has nothing other than a pure desire for human life or for them, or they'll know it, they'll be open to it. That's a lot of people want to meet famous people, collect famous people, get another job, just get another job, sell Rolls Royces or something like that. Uh, they're not, their fame is not your for your picture book. Okay. Um, and then the other thing is there's no shortcuts. There's no jumping over. There's no I could, you and I could go meet anyone we want, Magdalena.
Yeah.
So what? So what? Pop into their office, say something pleasant, or it they may it there might be good come from it. But to get to where you can really negotiate peace, there's no shortcut. One must go through the path of trust
Mm.
and be introduced to the person by someone they profoundly trust.
Mm.
Uh, in comic in meme type terms, it's called 6 degrees of separation. Like I've met I've sat together in a jungle tent with one of the most violent terrorists on earth. How, as an American guy, and it was in the jungles of southern Philippines. Why would he let an American guy all the way inside his compound? I met 6 or 8 massively armed checkpoints way in the jungle where you'd think no human has ever been. Why would he let me all the way in there, all the way in there? It comes from trust to trust to trust to trust. So that's the last thing I'll say, because I said there's 3. All humans are human. Um, one cannot have split purposes when
Gentlemen.
doing peace work. And finally, there's no shortcuts. It has to move through
Mm.
trust. Um, yeah, and that's the only way you can have influence. It's the same as whether you'll go to a movie or not, Magdalena. You have a friend that says, oh, you said, oh, this looks like the greatest movie ever. I saw the trailer. If you have a friend that says, I saw it, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
It's going to
So,
have more weight.
so this is going to lead me to the next question. How do you build the trust
Well, you
with
have
people?
it comes from being true to that fashion that the other two from the first point out. So I can host a conference. I can host a peace conference. Say on Russia, Ukraine. I can host a peace conference on it. Anybody can. You and I could. By Saturday, we could if we wanted to.
Yeah.
And then when the people come, they have to experience these two things. And then they will risk to take you up to a person that their job is to buffer or protect. But they'll say, oh, I really would like you to meet, and they'll bring you to their guru, or they'll bring you to their, but if they don't feel good about you, they'll protect their leader from you.
Yeah.
So the trust begins right from the start, right from the first person you meet. Maybe at a big conference, the young lady who put your water down or put your salad down, maybe it's the daughter of the main guy at the conference or main lady at the conference, but the mom wanted her to have an experience, and then there you are saying, oh, this salad came late, or you're yelling at.
Yeah.
So one has to be genuinely loving, genuinely care, the same all the time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, treat and respect everyone the same. Doesn't matter
Yes.
position or where they're coming from.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
Wow. What
Yeah.
are some projects you're working on right now?
Right now, let me see. Oh, right now I'm working on the academic side. I maintain the encyclopedia. There's also the burden of the financial support of things and things like that. Encyclopedia, it has to remain pure and true to its reputation. If it looks like it's going to be a vehicle for sales or something like that, the information is no longer trusted, it's compromised.
Yeah.
So that's a very tricky thing. So maintaining the encyclopedia and its funding is very tricky, because information and funding, that's an issue. So that's a constant project, because the true information, it's hard to come by. That's why I'm confused at why so many large media corporations are willing to forego their reputation these days by being biased or sold out. I don't understand that, because you can never get it back. You might as well just, the moment you politicize your information medium, you'd be smarter to just leave and lock the door and go on a vacation and just go to the Caribbean and never come back. Honestly, you'll never get it back. So maintaining the encyclopedia, that's a big project, a big and difficult project, especially the financial dimensions, and also the constant morphing of media like AI right now, and information. So that's a huge challenge to my work. On the interreligious side, what I'm doing right now is that the world presently tends to move towards secular. You probably correct, right? You do stuff in the UN, right?
Yeah.
They give lip service to spiritual and religious ideas. They tend to be secular in their assumption of how things really work. That's okay. But what happens is that, and also online stuff and digital stuff is what's it, skyrocketing. There's like, we meet less, we're like this more often. So attending religious community is rapidly declining.
Yes.
It's declining because people believe reason and science is smarter at solving things, which it's not. It's good. It's needed, but it's not better. And it's declining because of the rapid and positive advances of digital life. So people are not going to church or going to the synagogue or going to the temple. They might go to yoga class because that's physical, but still they're even doing yoga class in front of their computer screen, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm doing for interfaith, all religions are suffering from this fact that they're losing their people. They're losing their communities. Their communities are dwindling. So most times, religious groups, you know, because you go to a lot, they're doing things on women's rights or ecology or all the latest trends and all the latest urgencies. But one of the things that they really that is their universe, not the universe of an environmentalist from MIT, but their own universe is their members are not coming to their temple. So what I'm creating interreligious activity to get the religions to help each other solve the collective problem. This is a very radical or kind of rocket, like dropping the rocket booster, like to say to a religion, to say to a Muslim, help the Jews get their members back into. To say, what are you, crazy? I don't, that's true interfaith, is helping the religions do what they want to do. So the 12 Gates Foundation is very unique in its interreligious focus and demand. So our conferences are designed to have religious leaders help each other's religions, which is, you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unusual, right?
That's great, because that's what we need. We need that there will be more understanding between religions. But yes, how to bring the people back into the door.
Yeah. And then the rabbi and the imam and the guru, they'll truly recognize their oneness, their similarity. You mean that happens to you too? Oh my God, so that happens to me too. And so real interreligious harmony grows out of being about what you're really supposed to be about, and that's the spiritual lives of the people you're supposed to take care of.
Yeah.
And then on the social and cultural side, my primary focus is, and these are live meetings. I prefer live meetings. I prefer meetings of people of influence rather. I like to do big groups of, guests and things, but on the cultural and societal side, I'm trying to restore the possibility of civil conversation. People are too polarized and balkanized, and like your poor group, you say we're apolitical, but if being political would allow people to talk openly and friendly and, oh no, I believe something different, but that's very interesting. I never thought it wouldn't have to be apolitical. The reason why we're apolitical is because it's so divisive.
Yes.
So my social and cultural work is to try to restore civility in conversation so that it won't be a minefield. That and if you have friends from the opposite politics, you're very smart and you're very lucky. Your life is much better. You're more knowledgeable. You're less in a bubble.
Yeah.
So so those are the three things I'm doing in each of my groups.
Thank you so much for sharing. And my last question for you, Frank, please, you had so much life experiences from yourself, from your parents, and you need to share this wisdom with our audience. And I would like you to share something that would empower them, something that would let them think and then take action to become better in themselves.
Thank you. That's a tall order. It could be a million things, but the thing that came to mind as I was listening to you ask the question is that our life is long enough for troubles to be taken care of and fall into our past. And since I'm a religious believer, that God's plan for a person's life, or just call it the universe, or call it, whatever people like, I don't care. Your whole life is under care. So we can treat difficulties with interest or with curiosity. They don't need to burden us, or they don't need to anger us, or we don't need to make always be making demands and protests and the like. Basically, our lives are deliberately built to have hardships in them as a gift to our becoming seasoned, becoming wise, becoming loving. They're helpful. So what I would encourage is to trust that our life, or your life, is long. And eventually, 10 years later, you'll see something that looked devastating at the time was one of the greatest gifts to what you're now able to offer people. And all the easy thing, all the things that went well, and I finally got my house, and I got a raise, and they didn't necessarily make you as much as that time of hardship. So my encouragement or thought is, trust that our life is long, so that we can see the hardships possibly as gifts. Be patient with them, be interested in them. Don't lose the chance, because you don't want to keep it. Better to learn the lesson while it's happening than to make it go away and then it has to come back again. So if you ask for wisdom, it caught me off guard, but really, this is a thing I would ask. Look at your life as long and under care, and that hardships are a great gift, possibly the greatest gifts. They make much more of us than the blessings, but the blessings do also. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Frank, because I think this is what we have to realize, that the life is full of hardships and we need to embrace them. And we need to embrace them and love them for what they are.
Yeah.
And like you said, life is long enough, hoping that it's going to bring something
It
positive in the future.
It makes of you a compassionate soul. Yeah.
I do have one more question.
Good. Okay.
Now that you learn a little bit more about Miss Immigrant, and you met us twice in live events, what do you think as an organization we could do more and better to make a bigger impact on immigrant communities and in general in people?
Again, just first time, I'd prefer good thought, but just spontaneous response. I think that every now and then an event in which general people are invited to hear a talk or a testimony from one of your immigrant members, because I think that your Miss Immigrant members, they're extremely busy. We all have full lives. They have full jobs and something like that. And to the degree that they can work and serve in the organization, I imagine perhaps you guys have to rush off and be present to visit here or visit there. But if possible, every now and then a kind of an evening that you host somewhere, hopefully maybe the place can be donated and maybe the coffee can be donated, and then just a public invitation, and say, we're going to hear from so and so who's going to tell us about not only some interesting things about Costa Rica, but especially interesting things about what it's been like trying to learn American life, and you'll really have a wonderful night to hear something you would never hear anywhere else, or something like that, something hosted by you, in which what all of your people are becoming is shared, is the thing. It's not like you guys adorning other people's things, but every now and then you're what you are is the thing that people come to want to learn from.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Sure.
Yes, that's for sure. We're going to do that in the future, because as well, the base and the idea behind Miss Wise Immigrant podcast was to share the stories of immigrants, to be able to reach as many people as possible, and whoever's looking for this kind of inspiration, be able to find it and learn from each other. Today we want to learn from you. We want to know, somebody. I meet so many people. They want to start nonprofit organization. They want to advocate for this cause, peace, human rights, women's rights. But how do exactly we do it? How do we go about this?
Yeah. I know that a lot of what you do is to provide those capacities. It looks to me, from looking at your work, you're trying to help provide those capacities for people, isn't it?
The platform that a lady who was in the domestic violence abuse for years, now she has a platform, she can speak up, and she built the confidence for a whole year to come to the point where what she said she was waiting for 10 years to speak up about this, and finally because of Miss Immigrant she was able to do it.
It's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. Magdalena, as I say, I've met you a few times, and you're very sweet and very gentle, but what you're doing is enormously important. The potential is endless, honestly. It's a great inspiration. So I think nothing but more and more good and growth. I'm sure it's a blessed concept, and you're a great carrier of it.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you for your time. And hopefully we can bring you again in a few months and share more about your work and stories and empowerment.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. Bye, Frank.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.